Thanks for joining us. And today we're going to talk about the secret of Bhakti Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga is often called the yoga of devotion, and it is used in many paths, especially in India, where people will have a devotion towards an Ishta, which is sort of a form of God, if you will. So it could be Krishna, it could be Rama, Vishnu, etc. And then other paths have different kinds of devotional practices. The cult of Mary Magdalene, that's coming out of Catholicism or has come out of Catholicism, and other various approaches. And so that the Bhakti, aspiring for this sort of union with that particular form of the divine. And so that's all good, very nice practice. And even in Buddhism too, they have the metta practice, which is sort of brings a devotional or a bhakti component. But the real essence of Bhakti Yoga, the secret of Bhakti Yoga, you might say, is really informed by Taoist internal alchemy. It is really the concept of self-acceptance. This is a real fundamental that needs to occur before one can have this sort of union of love with the divine, if you will, because the love needs to start from inside yourself. And the love is there already, okay? So I'm not trying to say you have to manufacture it. But what I'm trying to say is that we need to get to that level where we can connect with that original love, if you will. It's inside us, it's inside creation, it's coming from what you might call the original spirit. But we have resistance to feeling it because we have a bunch of stuff that we have basically imposed on top of that devotion that could come from within. And so just a devotional practice by itself usually doesn't really go very far, and a lot of folks, especially in the West, have struggles with just a devotional approach. It's not really part of the culture of the West, and in some cultures of the East it is, but there's still the tendency to have resistance to feeling the love inside. And that resistance are basically our behavioral patterns that we have. They're patterns of, from Taoist internal alchemy, it's patterns of restrictions of the flow of the life force is really what it comes down to, which is really because one is not accepting things as they are, as oneself as they are at this current state, right? So the tendency to repress emotions means that you're not accepting the feelings that you've had in the past, right? You're pushing them down, and hence the self-love that starts the whole devotional process can't move. It's stuck, it's impeded by the inability to accept yourself as you are, to love yourself as you are. So does this mean then that you should be loving the bad and the good, right? You have a tendency to be very morose, right? Should you be loving that and exalting that and saying, yeah, let's be more morose? I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that if you don't accept the feelings that you have, your tendencies, your behavioral tendencies to act in certain ways, which are buried in your past experiences and all those kind of things, if you don't accept that, you can't transform it. And if you can't transform it, the love will not flow through you, right? And really, when we look at it, in Indian, spiritual traditions, they talk about God as love, and even in Christian traditions, they say that the source, the primordial source, original spirit, if you will, is love and expresses all this dynamic creation with love being sort of the crux, the foundation of all that. Now that's true, but we're resisting it, right? Is really what I'm trying to say. So self-love is so essential to being able to start to feel that love inside and that love of the original spirit, that connection, that spiritual love. You need to have the self-love. You need to accept yourself, right? So how does it work, right? How does self-love start to facilitate this process so you can connect with the love of original spirit and this devotional practices that start to bear fruit, right? So really what it is, the Taoist internal alchemy practice of the inner smile is really so foundational to that self-love, to that self-acceptance, because the inner smile is not about trying to project the love on something. It is just about accepting things as they are and accepting their potential for change. Basically what it is it's saying, you're okay and I'm okay with you changing. That's like a complete acceptance, right? I want the best for you, right? I accept you as you are, and I accept that you can change for your new potential, right? So when you turn that inside, right, the acceptance of things, things as they are that you currently have, it could be that you have particular feelings from the past, right, that you're not really proud of or whatever, but accepting it as they are and using the inner smile to smile into that feeling, wherever you feel it in your body, in your mind, in your emotions, when you're smiling into it, you're accepting it as you are and you're giving the consent for it to change, right? This is the beginning of Bhakti yoga. You are loving yourself. You're saying, yeah, it's okay the way you are, and yeah, we want to see you change for the better, right? So functionally, what does that mean? What it means is that feeling that you've had in the past is what we call sort of a pattern. It's a pattern that has restricted the flow of the life force, right? Which includes love as part of its expression. So when you are accepting that feeling, you are allowing it. You're basically saying, hey, I accept you as you are. You're not trying to push it down and repress it, right? You're accepting it as you are, and you're giving consent for it to change, which means you're giving consent for the life force to come and to reshape that pattern, to dissolve it or transform it into a new type of pattern. And then the self-acceptance from that, the flow of the life force that happens from that is a feeling of expansion of consciousness. Plus, you're happy because the life force is flowing and the love is flowing. You've accepted yourself, you've given consent for that feeling to change, and you're also encouraging the flow of the life force and the love of original spirit to flow through you. Isn't that fabulous, right? It is the essence of Bhakti yoga, right? So this is really where we get into the nuts and bolts of how things work internally, right? And from Taoist Internal Alchemy, they have a very, very clear map about the way that the life force flows through, and love is a whole part of that process. But if you try and take a perspective in Bhakti yoga where you are just trying to emulate a spiritual ideal, hoping that it will transform you inside, but you're not actually accepting who you are and what you are and giving the consent for transformation, you're going to get stuck. Your Bhakti yoga will not be a fully transformative process. Now, it's true that there might be some things that happen, right? Like some people in Bhakti yoga say, oh, well, I gave it all to God, right? But did you accept it all in yourself? Because if you're giving it to God in a way, accepting it all inside in yourself is like you're giving it away, because you're really saying to the life force or to the primordial spirit or the original spirit, I want this to move. I want it to transform, right? So in a way you are giving it, but it's just a more practical approach to giving it to God, is that you are giving self-acceptance and allowing the transformation, this sort of primordial energy of God, if you will, the life force of the original spirit, to transform it, right? You need to accept yourself first. And well, self-acceptance is absolutely essential for that. And inner smile is a really amazing and easy technique to apply to help that process happen, right? So it's a secret. It's like a key for Bhakti Yoga. So we have the Inner Smile, we have Inner Smile video on our website at modernkriya.com. It's also in our YouTube channels. Just very simple. You're just smiling in, and you can systematically smile through different parts of your body. And it's really about getting in touch with your feelings and accepting them as they are, right? And giving consent for them to change, and things will start to spontaneously change. And you're really doing Bhakti Yoga, right? It's just that you're taking a more pragmatic approach to doing it. So that's the secret of Bhakti Yoga. So we teach deeper versions of these techniques in Modern Kriya in our membership accounts section. And so if you're looking for techniques that are going to take you farther in your own spiritual practice that you can apply to your own tradition, check out what we have at Modern Kriya in our subscribers section, right? It's like $9.99 a month. It has really good information that will be extremely helpful for you. So if you have any questions about this video, feel free to send me an email at info@modernkriya.com. Also check our website at modernkriya.com and our YouTube channel. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.